Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Connected Podcast. I am your host, Marcelo Pena, aka Cello Effect. And I do this podcast because I love to hear people's stories. I love to just connect with, different individuals from all over the world, and just really tap into what happened to them in their life as far as kidney disease or whatever the topic is at hand. So today, we have an amazing guest named Alex Alonso. I met Alex a few weeks ago, actually. He reached out to me from a post that I did. I put on Facebook, and honestly, our friendship just started rolling after that. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes. He's gonna join us here soon, and it's gonna be a pleasure. It's gonna be a pleasure to hear his story. Because this dude is a warrior. He's been through so much as far as kidney disease and dealing with dialysis and transplants. And the crazy thing is we have a lot of similarities, me and Alex. So yeah, we've been talking on the phone and really, really just vibing with one another. So let me give it a minute and we'll be right back, and tune in because this is going to be something, you're going to want to listen to. There goes the man of the hour right there, Mr. Alex Alonso.
What's going on, brother? Hold on, let me this is my first time doing this, so I apologize, man.
Oh no, it's all goody, man. It's all good. This your time.
All right, thanks for your patience. Let me just make sure I got the video right and give them access to my microphone. Okay.
Boom.
Yeah.
My brother, what's going
man?
on?
We here.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey man, it's all love. I'm excited that you tuning into the Connected Podcast. Thank you for doing this. Alex, just welcome to this, man. I'm excited for people to hear your story, dude, because Alex is a legend. He's a legend in his own right, for real. He's a warrior, straight up.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, I love it. A businessman, a father, a fiance,
Yep.
all that beautiful thing. So, it's
definitely. I'm honored to be here, man. Like, just coming across you has been such a blessing for me, bro. Like meeting you has been like the time I met you is probably the best time to like just come across you, bro. Because my journey has been crazy, and like just for me to be attracted to your like the way I met you, to see your post, like my attraction to your post and what you said, I just felt like it was like a calling, man. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that we're acquainted. We're friends now. And I mean, how long have we known each other now? For about a few months now, right? 2 months?
Man.
It's like, I feel like you're my bro. Like, I literally feel like I've known you my whole life. Like, every time we talk to each other on social media or whatever, text, calls, like, I don't even realize it sometimes. We'll be on the phone and I look at my phone, it's like an hour later. I'm like, man, I've been talking to Marcelo for an hour. It's like, we just talk about everything, man.
It's just flow. It's just straight up flow, dude. Especially because we have so much in common. You know what I'm saying? We're both Latino, but not even that. It's the whole dialysis aspect of it, man. You don't even look at it like a dialysis patient, my brother.
Hey, listen, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to the audience, man. I got myself ready for this. You know what I mean? But on regular days, it's rough sometimes, and I know man. It's rough. It's trying to keep up with your appearance and other people, and just always the comparison to people that are actually healthy. It's sometimes it could weigh heavy on you because you don't want to look sick. You know what I mean? When you're sick, you try so hard not to look sick, and some days you just do, and you got to just roll with it. But man, like once you build that confidence and you really start educating yourself, and that what you like, who you are on the inside starts to exude outside, and then all that stuff that you felt like how you looked outside, that goes away, and the real you comes out. So it's definitely a process, man, for real.
It is, man. And I mean, we spoke a little bit about your past and a little bit about your story, but it didn't even go that deep, So I would love for you to just start from the beginning, man. Like, were you born with kidney problems, or did it like just like progress?
No, man. I actually got diagnosed when I was like 21 years old. So I lived a fairly healthy life, man. Like, I was pretty much, I was raised on Long Island. I was raised with both my parents. We lived it was me, my parents, my younger sister. We lived in the suburbs of Long Island, Suffolk County, to be exact. Quorum. Shout out to everybody in Quorum, Longwood High School, what up? But I grew up there, man, and it was definitely like a regular childhood, man. Like we went outside, played, we did, you know, regular kid things. You know, I went to Longwood High School. I learned a lot in school, like who I was, the people I hung out, like I made friends in there. And you know, I was a little rebellious back in high school. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I used to, you know, skip out on class a lot. I just wasn't. I had when I was younger, I had a problem with focusing, paying attention, and it wasn't like I was dumb. Like I would always pass tests. Like when it was test day, I knew it. Like I would pass the test, but it was just the fact of like sitting in a classroom setting for me and having to focus on a topic that I might have not been interested in. And like literally my mind would just go, you know what I mean? It would be so hard for me to focus on a task. So school was definitely difficult for me, you know? And so, you know, I cut out a lot in school, but I mean, after high school, you know, I started working like local jobs. I went to community college. I started working at some local jobs in the area. I was doing like I was working at this panini place making paninis. It's called Tropical Smoothie. I don't know if you ever ate there before.
Nah. Yeah, when I come down to New York, I'm gonna try that place.
It's like a health food spot, but I learned a lot at that job, bro. That was like my first job out of high school, and like it's just my introduction to the real world. So, you know, during that time, I was kind of living a little reckless. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was working there, but you know, I would party a lot, go out, just you know, just living a little wild, whatever. But everything
like a young adult.
Yeah, pretty much, you know, just doing my thing. And then I guess I feel like, you know, eventually once I turned 21, everything kind of came to a stop. And it was eventually when I started feeling ill. The first thing that I felt was like just one day I had this bad headache. It felt like a migraine that I've never felt before. Like just like one of those that feels like it's like right behind your eye socket and it's just pounding. So I dealt with it the first day and I figured it'll go away the next day. I took some Tylenol. The next day it was even worse. So my mother took me up to the doctor, my GP, and as I'm there, they took my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was like 200, bro. Like it was super high, and they were like really alarmed, and they were like, "You got to get to a hospital ASAP, like urgent. Like we don't know what's up with you, but you could have a heart attack or a stroke any minute." So I go to the hospital. They run a bunch of blood work, and then they said they want to check the kidneys and do a biopsy. So, you know, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why do they want to check the kidneys and do a biopsy? Like, you know what I mean? I was just like surprised, but at the same time, I didn't think nothing of it. I just figured it'll be like any other test and it would just be like negative, you know, whatever. So I do the biopsy and, you know, it's definitely uncomfortable. I know, you probably had a biopsy before.
Yeah.
It was like my first time. So I think the first time they go through the back. It's after you get a transplant, they go through the front. So they go through your back. You gotta lay on your stomach and you could feel like the little needle going in your back and it pinching. And it's such a weird feeling, bro. I remember feeling so uncomfortable. So after that, probably a couple of hours later, they came back and this was probably like the most devastating moment of my life. Like when they came into that hospital, it was just me and my father.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was my nephrologist. Her name is Dr. Sue. And she ended up being my nephrologist for the next 3 years. But she was the one that broke the news to me. And she was like, I'm sorry to say, but, you know, the biopsy came back and shows that you have kidney failure. And it's end stage already. It's already chronic.
Dang.
Like there was no catching stage 3, stage 2, like stage 5. I was already ESRD. Like it was like, and I just remember being like, what? And she's like, you're going to have to be on dialysis probably for the rest of your life and need a transplant. Like, it was just like, I went from living a regular life to 21 years old and like life is still ahead of me. And then now all of a sudden I'm being told like, I'm going to be chronically ill for the rest of my life. Like, I'm going to be on a machine. I'm going to need a transplant. Like, I'm never going to be healthy. Like, it was just shocking. I just started bursting out in tears and my dad was there. He cried. He held me. We held each other and it was like a moment. And even at that moment too, like, you know, me and my father never had the like closest relationship. So for him to be there in that moment, it was just different too. Like we just embraced and it was like we never embraced before. it was such a touching moment for me. And that was just where my journey began, man, with, dialysis. So ever since then, it was just a new lifestyle pretty much from there on out. They kind of convinced me to go on PD because they said, you're still young, and with peritoneum dialysis, it's a lot easier. You're just more free to do things. You don't have to go to the clinic every week and everything. So I chose to do PD, and initially the transition to PD at that age for me was fairly easy. I remember the hardest part for me throughout the process was getting the catheter put in, because with PD you got to have a catheter put into your abdomen. And then, so it's a surgery, and then after the surgery you got to give it a couple of days to use it because you got to heal up and everything. And the thing about it was I started doing dialysis after a couple of days in the hospital, and then around the time that I was supposed to go home, they wouldn't let me go home because I was waiting for insurance to get cleared. And it was like they wouldn't let me go home because insurance had to get cleared. And there was something going on with the insurance company where the process was taking so long, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, man, I was in that hospital for almost 2 to 3 months, like almost a whole summer, just waiting for my insurance to clear. Really? So I was just, it was wild. It was like, that was the saddest moment I had on dialysis when I first got on dialysis. Like, it was just like, because when I'm in the hospital, it's one thing just to realize that I'm going to be on dialysis for the rest of life. And now I'm doing dialysis. And then my diet changes, right? I can't eat like the way I used to. And not only that, but then you start getting like family members that come and friends that show love. But then you start realizing some people like that you thought was like your close ones, your real family or your friends, they ain't really showing up the way you thought they would. Like, it's almost like, man, I started seeing really like who's on my side for real and who wasn't, and it made me feel some type of way. Like, I had some people that I was really close to that I thought we was really close. And then when I realized, like, there was days I was in a hospital and then I'm scrolling on Facebook and they're out clubbing. You know what I mean? It's like they don't even hit me up to say, hey, bro, how you been? Like, are you all right? How's everything? None of that. So I built a lot of resentment in the hospital towards a few people. And, I remember coming home and just acclimating to dialysis, man. And just at that age, when I first got on PD and coming home and doing it, I just kind of got used to it. And I just remember just doing it every day. Like, it was just a part of my life. I was still making urine. I was still doing all the like regular things, but I just remember it was okay for a little bit. I didn't have too many complications. So yeah, I did dialysis for 3 years. During that time, a lot of ups and downs between friends, family, relationships, just going through regular life things. And then finally, my idea behind going, like, because originally when I got on PD, my mother was a candidate for me. She was able to be she could give me her kidney. And I didn't want her to. Like, I was like nervous for her. You know what I mean? And I felt like I wanted to spare her. So I kind of like, I held off on that. And I didn't really take that offer from her originally. I said, you know what, Mom, let me just right now, PD is not really wearing on my body too much. I said, let me do PD for a little bit. And then if somebody comes up like a deceased donor or something, because I was on the list, then I'll just take their kidney and I can spare you, like I just wanted to spare her. So, after 3 years, I sort of realized, like, I had my girl in my ear telling me, like, dialysis long-term is not good. Like, people pass away. And I was still young, and I was at the point, like, I was like, oh no, people do dialysis for years. They're going to be fine. And she was like, no, like, the longer you do dialysis. And then I started really looking into it, and I'm like, she's right. You know what I mean? The more you do dialysis, it's just hard on your body. You don't know what can happen. So I said, you know what? I made a decision. I said, I'm just going to take my mom up on that offer, man. I got kids to think about. I got a whole life ahead of me, and she was willing to do it. So we went ahead with the surgery, and I got a transplant. Thank God I got that transplant, man. And honestly, after I got that transplant, it was probably some of the best years of my life, bro. Right after that, it just felt like a second chance, and it felt great. you know, for the first year, it took a while to acclimate.
Yeah.
You know, I remember the first few months when I got home, I still wasn't feeling 100%. I remember all the doctors being like, oh yeah, once you get a transplant, like you're going to feel like a new person. You're going to feel rejuvenated. Everything's going to be perfect. And I remember getting a transplant. I'm like, I kind of still feel the same. Like, I can't tell, you know, like, I was like, I don't really know. And then finally, like, I started to realize I was gaining weight. And that was a big thing for me. Like on dialysis, it's hard to gain weight. You can't gain weight because you're so restricted. You can't eat any, like you can't eat potatoes or carbs that usually help you gain weight. So it's hard. So I remember I started gaining weight and then I was like, oh, I can't get fat. I was like, I need to start working out. So I got a membership to a gym. And the first time in my life, bro, I never worked out. I started working out like a powerlifting, like lifting dumbbells, weights, and I started building muscle. I started feeling like fantastic, bro. Like I'd never felt in my life. I gained like I was about almost like my healthiest. I was about like 190, just like, you know, pretty solid. Like felt good. I was lifting weights every day, drinking protein shakes. I was doing great, man. And then you know, like I was still young too, and I wasn't responsible, man. And like I kind of was like negligent with the doctor appointments in a way because I was feeling so good. I was like, yeah, I'll go next week. Like I was missing doctor's appointments, and like I remember I came to the doctors finally after not being there for almost like 3 months, and then they was just like, oh, your creatinine shot up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. They're like, we want to get a biopsy just to make sure everything's all right. Do the biopsy, and yeah, that's pretty much when they told me that that my kidney was rejecting, was starting to fail again. And I remember just being like, okay, well, there's still a chance that I could fight it. Because then I started doing research, like, okay, people go through this. Like, there's times where it could reject, and you could fight it, and it'll come back. You know, you can get your kidney back. So they were like, yeah, you have to come in on Friday. You got to do some steroid treatments. And that's how they decided to try to fight the rejection. So I come in there, I get on the chair, you know, they give me the needle with the steroids, and I let it sit in me for like 3 hours. And then they just, I mean, it was such a blur during that time. You know what I mean? Like how everything kind of happened, but it was just like, yeah, this isn't going to work. You're going to end up being back on dialysis. And man, when I got that news that I was going to lose my kidney again and go back on dialysis after how good I felt, like how it was, you know, like feeling like the best I ever felt in my life. And then knowing I was going to be back on the machine again and I was going to lose it all, man, it was such a slow, like process of depression for me. It was like a slow, like initially, like, okay, so I get the news, I'm upset, I'm crying. I was by myself. I was on the road. I used to work for my father. And I'm sorry if I'm all over the place because
you're doing a perfect timeline, bro. That's why I'm letting you talk.
Okay, cool. Because I know sometimes I start jumping from subject to subject. I just want to make sure
I'm right on with you, bro, for real.
Okay, so while I had my transplant, I was working for my father. He owns a company doing most people don't know, but he works on CMM machines. He services and calibrates CMM machines. They're like computer measurement machines. So most of the time I'll travel to a customer and pretty much calibrate their machine and make sure it's in spec every year. So he has these customers he sees every year, and I would travel for him. So sometimes I'll go to Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, upstate like Maine, Northeast, the whole Northeast of the United States. He had customers there, and I'll go there, I'll spend the night, and the next day I'll do the job and drive home. So it was a pretty decent job for me. He paid me pretty well. And I used to do that all the time. And then, so I remember being on a road driving home from like Pennsylvania. I was really far too, like in Amishville, Pennsylvania. So it was a long drive. And I just got off the phone with the doctors after they told me that I was losing my kidney. And I'm driving and I just started thinking about how I was going to lose my kidney. And I just broke down, bro, and started crying like the whole way home by myself, like just praying, asking God why, just letting it all out. I was by myself. I was in the middle of some farm, just driving home. And that was like the beginning of the next journey for me right there. It was like knowing that I had to go through this again and I had to find a way to come through it. So, man, I got back home and then it was interesting because the doctors actually didn't put me right back on dialysis. They said, let's let you go as long as you can.
Yeah.
And then, we'll let you go back on dialysis whenever, because right now you still have a little bit of function or whatever. They were just like, eventually you're going to have to go back on, but we'll hold you off. So I actually went after like my kidney started rejecting. I went like a whole year still before I went back on dialysis. But during that year, I just was deteriorating slowly, bro. And I felt it. My body was deteriorating. I was still working for my father. Just didn't have the energy I used to have. I could feel it. I used to feel so energetic before. Like I would just be able to go to a gym, work out, come home, feel fine, and just do things at home. Now it was like I couldn't even comprehend getting the energy to even go to the gym. Like it was like everything felt yeah, everything felt like it just was like a weight on me. And man, it was rough, bro. Like I just remember
how long did your kidney last? Like from when you got the transplant to when it started to fail again?
So I had the transplant for about 6 years straight.
Yeah, that's a good little thing.
Yeah, a little 6 years. It might have been 7, to be honest, including the year that I was already like it was already failing and I was just like kind of coasting.
Yeah.
But about good, 6 to 7 years with the kidney. And in that time, man, like man, I had a kid, I had I was working, me and my fiance, I got engaged. We went on vacation to LA. I proposed to her in LA. And, me and her, we were dating for so long, man, like almost 8 years. So it was like a lot of things happened in that time. We moved into our first apartment together. And then after that, we moved into a bigger one, like we upgraded. And the apartment that we was in, it was a nice apartment, man. It was like a 2-bedroom and it was enough space for the kids. They had a nice community. There was a lot of little kids there for my kids to play with. It was like a nice little life I had during that time. And then, yeah, man, once I found out I was rejecting, it was almost like that life I had, it went out the window, bro. And it was just so crazy how it happened. Like literally, I couldn't travel anymore because when you're on PD, you can't travel like unless I carried a machine with me everywhere. But it was just so much work because not only do you got to carry the machine and the bags and the boxes and pack it, but my job it entitles me having to carry tools too. I had two big toolboxes I had to carry and computers. So it was like I didn't know how I was gonna do all that, man. Like I just couldn't. So I kind of stopped working for my father. I went on disability and then, that's kind of like, that's been my vibe since then, man. Like I kind of lost all that. I had to move out that apartment, move back in with my family. My fiance had to move in with her family, with the kids. So I was no longer with my kids anymore. And it was just a complete lifestyle change, man. But honestly, at the same time, it could have been a blessing in disguise. Like, because I found myself after that. And that's kind of like where my journey began.
Ooh, so I wish I had sound effects, bro. That's cool to get. I'm gonna get some sound effects, man. People don't understand, bro. They don't understand the emotional roller coaster that this life entails, man. And your story, what you just said, like you articulated that so perfectly, man. Like it's like people don't feel that. They want to see that, bro, because it's different to hear it, but it's a different game when you live in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not over. It's not over. Behind the scenes, like. Dude, people don't know how you feel, and some days you just want to give up. You just want to give up. Like you look at it like, what's the point? But you got kids, you got baby boys, man. Man.
It's hard, man, because at the same time, not for nothing, but it definitely it holds you back too. Like you'll see your peers moving ahead in life, and it's almost like you feel like, man, I would be there too if it wasn't for these setbacks. Like. Kidney disease is such a setback, bro. People don't even understand. Like, we could look healthy on the outside and you could see us and we look normal, but you don't understand. Like, it's like the energy is just not the same. Like, you just feel tired and, but there's definitely ways to fix that, and I started realizing that once I had this alone time with myself, it's really important that you get alone time sometimes. I know there's a lot of people out there that might be on dialysis and they live with family. And sometimes when you live with family, like there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of pressure to have to take care of people, especially when you're the man of the house.
Yeah.
You got to take care of people. And it's like, how can you take care of people when you can't even take care of yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could get really hard, and you sometimes you need the support. And I feel, and my heart goes to all the people that don't have that support. Like I don't even understand how some people do it, man. Like there's literally people that are working full time on dialysis and then coming home and providing for their family. Like my hat goes to you. Like you guys are the warriors. You guys are the superheroes. Like I give y'all the credit. I don't know how y'all do it, but it's insane. It's insane because like at this point, sometimes like, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better than I was before, but I can't imagine myself going to a job, working a 9 to 5 every day. Like that's kind of why I started my own thing with Three Kings. It really came from me, like, number one, being immune compromised. So like, I don't want to be at COVID. You don't want to be around a bunch of people. And the fact that I can't stand on my feet too long, man. Like if I'm on my feet too long, I'm tired. So I had to find something to do that I could feel like I could do, like something I could benefit from. And it took a lot of like being alone. It took a lot of self-reflecting. It took a lot of like prayer. And it was a process, bro. And, literally God started showing me things. God started showing me a path, and I just started sticking with it. A lot of things in life, I always got little like tidbits and stuff, and like my conscience is always telling me what's the right thing to do, and sometimes I know, most of the time I would ignore it, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So for the first time, I was like, you know what, God, I'm listening now. I'm here and I'm listening, so I'm going to do what you want me to do. So I just started moving in a different direction, man. And I decided to really take my life into my own hands with my health and everything. And things are slowly coming together, man. Slowly. I'm not there yet by any means, no stretch, but I feel like the momentum that I'm starting to build is in a good place, and slowly but surely I'll get there. And man, as I was building up this momentum, I ran into you, and now all of a sudden we are conversing, and now I'm doing something I never saw myself doing, bro. Like being on this Zoom meeting with you and like talking to you on an interview on the internet. Like I'm a fairly private person, so for me to do this, like, it's just crazy. So I'm just appreciative. I'm grateful that you got me on here, man. I'm grateful that I met you. And the stuff that you've been diving into and learning, like these are all things that I've kind of been studying. And it's just feel like divine intervention running into you, bro. Like it was definitely awesome, man. So thank you again.
Bro, man, you my dog, man. You my brother. Man. That's what I love about you, dude, because there's so many people, you and me, we're both in the trenches in these Facebook groups, and we're trying to just spread that love and that light, because there's so many people out there that are just, complaining. It's not because they want to complain. They don't know no other way. You know what I'm saying? They don't know no other way. So I just love how you took all that pain, all that hurt, and you saw the innovation. And look at you, man, blessed. God is always on my ops. I love that, bro. Like
God verse on my ops. Man.
Yeah, I love that. There you go, man. See, I love that, man. I love how you did that. You just, you took back your power, dude. That's what I love, and people people see that and they get inspired by that, dude. So anybody that sees this, dude, they're gonna reach out to you, man. And they're gonna
I hope so, man, because I definitely know what it's like to feel depressed, man. Like it was literally just a year ago today. I was probably at my worst, super depressed. I mean, my birthday's coming up next week. So I remember it was my birthday last year, and I spent it in my room, like crying by myself, bro. I was just so sad because, not to get too personal, but I have some close people in my life, and they've been watching me on dialysis, and I felt like they was in a position to help. And in a way, it's hard because as somebody that is in need, you kind of want people to offer you that help without having to ask.
Exactly.
And you know what I mean? And so I was feeling some type of way, but trying not to put too much thought behind that. And I ended up having a conversation with this person, and they told me about a conversation they had with somebody and how that person told them that, oh, I wouldn't give him a kidney because what happens to you? You got other people to worry about. Like, and I just took it so offensive. I was like, they're basically saying for you to let me die? Like, you know, I couldn't even comprehend. I was just angry. Yeah. And I remember being so upset with that person, man, and hanging up the phone and just feeling so down, bro. Like, so I was really down. And then I told myself in that moment that I would never allow myself to rely on anybody or feel that down anymore. And I said to myself that I'm not going to ask anybody for anything. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to give without expecting to receive anything. And I'm just going to see what goes on from there. And then since then, that birthday, I started watching what I eat a little bit more. I started just trying to work out, exercise a little bit more, just take care of myself more. And then slowly but surely, I gained my confidence back. And then I slowly willed myself out of depression. You know, I was depressed during that time, bro. I literally would just lock myself in my room and just be in my room all day, bro, like playing Xbox, you know, like doing nothing productive, man. And I just was sick of it. I was sick of it, bro. And I had to do something. I had to create something. I had to do something for myself. And I started thinking about my boys. And I said, what happens if I pass and I got nothing to leave for them? I mean, you know, I spent so much time feeling sad for myself. I spent so much time in my life wasting time just doing nonsense. And I'm just like, man, now I have an opportunity to turn it around. Why don't I just do it now? Now is the time to do it. Now is my window. You know, I'm about to be 33. I'm the age Jesus was when he passed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta make. I'm just saying that now, like to everybody. Like, how old are you gonna be? I'm like, I'm the age Jesus died, you know. But listen, I gotta make something happen now. This is my window, you know. So I'm full force, like trying to be this person I never was in my life, and I'm slowly stepping into it. Like, I feel like a lot of things that happened to me kind of setting me up for where I am now. And I just took all them lessons that I learned about myself, about the people around me, how to handle people, how to handle my health, and be more responsible in my situation, and think about my children and everybody. Just basically think about everybody but myself. And that's kind of like been my motto lately: is what can I do for other people? How can I be a service to other people? And with that attitude, bro, literally everything started changing, bro, for me. Like, night and day for me. I just felt like a new person. It felt so much better to not always feel like I'm consuming and taking and just to give back, especially us dialysis patients being in a place of need where you need somebody to give you a kidney. Like, there's no better feeling than like knowing that you need somebody to give you something, but you're like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm gonna give to you. Like, I'm in a place where I need, but you know what? I'm gonna give. It's like the most selfless thing you could do. And it makes me feel amazing. And it's like, it helps me so much, bro. Like, the mentality, it helps my mindset so much. And it helps me to stay focused on what's important. And things slowly just start, like, doors just start opening up, man. And vision starts coming and strategy starts coming. And I decided to start a company with two of my friends that I grew up with, all from my idea. And, you know, we're getting there slowly, but like, it's just something that I feel good about because it's something I started by myself. I'm not working for anybody. You know, it's something I decided to do on my own, and it feels good. And man, I just hope that I could use this as a platform to help other people that are on dialysis that might be depressed. Cause I know what that feels like, man. That mental health is serious when you're on dialysis, bro. Like, your mind it could go real in a bad place. It could go in a real bad place. So I just want to be that light to people, man. Hopefully what we're working on, what we're doing in these groups, like just running into your, like, bro, the light that you shed in these kidney groups is like amazing, bro. Like, people don't even know. Like, I went into these groups just to find more support and to help out people. And some of the things that you see people saying is just so sad and depressing. Like, literally people are talking about suicide. Like, openly on there. Like, I want to give up and kill myself. And it's like, it's heavy, man. And, you know, I just like, man, I wish I could just, you know, I want to help, but at the same time, I don't want to preach. You know what I mean? It's so hard. It's like that thin line where you don't want to feel like you're preaching to somebody or you're pushing God on people, but at the same time, like a lot of people, like if you're on dialysis and you're listening to this, and you're feeling depressed about how you feel, I would say spend some time alone. Spend time alone and be still.
Yeah.
As much as you can. Get vision from God. If you don't believe in God, that's okay. But just spend time, meditate, get into your thoughts and think about everything. Think about your life. Think about what you want. Think about where you've been, what kind of impact you want to have on people, if you want to have an impact on people. And just be still, because I'm telling you, like, sometimes we could get so caught up in like what's going on around us, the distractions, the phones, the bad influences, the negativity. It just weighs on us. And it's like sometimes you got to silence everything and just be still and get that word and that strategy that you need, because you're not going to get it if you're always being distracted. You definitely got to be alone.
Misery loves misery, bro. Like misery loves misery. And I mean, it's just a matter of, I just see people want to vent so much, you know, and just being an outlet. So that's my thing too, to be a service as much as I can for people, you know, because every time I'm posting, every time I'm sharing, like I have solutions. We have solutions. You know? So there are things that we can do. Like you said, quiet the mind down, you know, practice breathing exercises, practice, you know, working on your diet. It doesn't just have to be the renal diet. You know, I was just in a support group with Davita. You know, hey man, I'm gonna send you some links to that, so maybe you could tune in, because you know they're always looking for more people to talk. You know, that are on dialysis. So you know,
definitely.
People out there are just craving for people that are living this dialysis life, but have something else to offer. You know, and honestly, dude, you have that. Like you have that. Your spirit, your story, your brand, the story behind the brand and the clothing companies, right? That right there is a perfect introduction to Alex. You know what I mean? So
man, thank you, bro. And there's so much more to it too. You know, there's so much more that, you know, I literally have to sit down somewhere and write it down, because like my mind is just, I can't even like give it all at once, you know.
The book, bro. Hey man, when's the book gonna come out, man? Let the people know when the book is gonna come.
I got some things to accomplish first. Once I accomplish what I want, then the book is definitely gonna drop, bro.
Beautiful, man.
For sure.
Beautiful. So a couple more questions, then you know what I'm saying, we'll wrap it up. So you're on dialysis now, still, right? Like you still on it. So what's the plan, man? Like, are you gonna get another transplant? What's the word?
So I'm on the transplant list. The thing is, like, I got some family members that want to donate, but the thing is, they prefer me to get a transplant for somebody outside of family, just because of my antibodies that might be against my genetics. So they want to use somebody that has different genetics, and you know, so it makes it harder. It makes it harder to find somebody, because obviously you would want a direct transplant from a family member. But there's ways around it. And that's the great thing about how, you know, these transplant teams do it now. There's what's that one called, where it's like the pair exchange program, where somebody could donate a kidney and then to somebody that's in need, and then that person's family member could donate to you. It's almost like, you know, you get put into a database.
Flipping kidneys, man.
Exactly. What was dope about it is that you could do multiple transplants at one day, like in one sitting. So like literally 6 people could get transplanted at once just from being in this database. So it's definitely awesome. And like, so, you know, I've been on dialysis now for about, this is probably my 3rd year, or maybe 3rd and a half year. And I'm on the list. You know, I got some people getting tested, and we'll see, man. You know, like, you know, I've been waiting, and I keep, you know, I'm just being super patient, man. And in the meantime, I'm like trying to get myself as healthy as I can while on dialysis, you know, because I definitely want to prepare myself, because if I do get a transplant, I want to make sure that I'm already walking in the right direction. You know, like things already, like I'm putting in the groundwork now and the foundation now, so that when that does happen, it's just like a up and up, everything just goes up. And I'm praying it does. And, you know, it's just so hard, bro, because, you know, dealing with kidney failure, you never know, man. I could literally get a transplant and then it could fail again. you know, you just never know what could happen. So it's definitely scary, man. And the only way you could get through like these times is through faith, man. You got to have some type of faith, and you got to believe in a positive outcome at all times. Once your mind goes negative, forget about it. You're gonna spiral down and spiral down. You gotta really be like strict with how you think. You gotta be strict in being positive, and you gotta watch the kind of people you talk to, because sometimes people's vibes will just get on you, and then you will feel down. You got like people like you, Marcelo. Like I really try to just talk to people like you, man. Like just positive and trying to live the right life, eat right. Like, man, it's hard.
And I mean, that's
Gotta
what
stay
we're
away
here,
from
man.
it.
That's honestly why we're here, because that's honestly that right there is a whole nother topic that, you know, we could do a part 2, part 3 on, you know,
Yeah.
because it really is. But I wanted to go back real quick. So when you got diagnosed, what did they say happened? Did they tell you?
So it was a IGA nephropathy.
Okay.
Berger's disease, I think it's called, the other name for it. But basically, the way they made it sound to me, it was like you could have been walking around with this for years and you didn't know. And it's like a silent killer. It's like how they described it to me. So you won't even feel symptoms until it's too late. And that's kind of what they told me. They said you could have had this since you was like 10 years old. You didn't know. And it didn't come up until I turned 21. So, and that's the thing that worries me too sometimes, is because if I do get a transplant, there's a possibility that the IGA could come back. You know, but I have to be on top of, you know, my meds, make sure I'm doing everything right. But I'm honestly very confident that if I do get another transplant, that I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it stays as long as it can, man. I'm going to try everything I can, because this dialysis life is hard, man. And it's like, it's just tough, bro. You know, it definitely is tough.
It is, dude. I'm going on 21 years, man, almost 22 years. And I mean, I did PD, I did nocturnal, I did in hospitals, you know, and like people don't know, man. People don't know, and you know, I had those days too, dude, where you just cry, man. You just, I mean, I haven't had those in a minute, just because.
Yeah, you've been feeling good. I could tell.
I done transmuted that, but I know what you mean, dude. Like I really, you know, but I want to leave the people off on a great note. So I asked this question before. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you see yourself?
Okay.
In about 2 years, 2 to 3 years, my brother. Because I see you, man. Like I said before, you a CEO. You know, it's just a matter of time before it's like official.
Thank you, bro.
You already there.
Thank you, bro. You know, man. To be honest with you, man, like me getting into selling shirts was just like me trying to find myself, really. I felt like it was an easy entry level business to get into, because the cost of everything is low. It's not, I don't have to invest too much. And I really, you know, I trained myself on how to make shirts for a while. It took a while because there's so many different ways to make shirts. But as I made shirts, and then I started trying to learn how to advertise them online and sell them to people, I started learning more about like finding your audience and the kind of people I want to sell to. And then I started thinking about, why don't I utilize my story? And then I started thinking about, you know what? Why don't I just like find like a way to use this and then find a way to give back also? Because deep down in my heart, the real reason why I started this was that I'll be able to be in a position to give back. I mean, it all comes back to when I had that moment, like I told you, when I was still and I got strategy, and what was being told was that I need to give back. I felt like I was expecting people to give to me, and a lot of my life I was always taking and consuming. So that's a major point for me, is to give back. And if that's through therapy, like helping somebody as a life coach that's going through dialysis, or giving somebody a shirt just out of the kindness of my heart, like, hey, here, boom, don't forget, you know, God loves you, here, boom, God averts all my ops, you know, think about that. You know, you might have some oppositions in life. Like, don't take that on yourself. Have God handle that for you. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to give out messages to help people with life that are dealing with depression and mental health. And then I started thinking, you know, there's people that during the holidays, have medical conditions and they're not working and they can't provide for their children, or they're struggling during the holidays. So I figured, you know what? My next business model is going to be this. I'm going to attach these shirts, and with a percentage of each shirt, I'm going to give it away to a family that's in need, and we're going to provide them with like gifts for Christmas. So, you know, I got two of my partners and we're figuring out how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing, bro. I want to document it. I want to choose. I don't know if I'm going to use the kidney groups to find a family, or I'm going to just use my dialysis center. But I could talk to my nephrologist, whoever. But basically, I'm going to just look for these families that, you know, have somebody that might be on dialysis or might be chronically ill, and they're financially in a struggle. And I just want to come around and sponsor them for the holidays, just lighten a little bit of the burden on some people, man, one by one, and show that even though that we're down and we're low, we could still give to society. We could still be of use, and we could still be of service to people. And that's just where I'm at, man. I just want to be of service. So
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, if anybody wants to hit me up, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Alexander Alonso, 3kingsny.com is my website. You get my clothes. Instagram, 3kingsny. I'm always posting. Like, literally, you could message me anytime and we could just talk. Like, you just feeling down, just hit me up. We could talk. Like, that's what's in my heart overall. Like, my gift I want to give to people is that I'm here to listen, and I'm here to help show you a way, and maybe we could get through this together, because we're all going through it. We're all suffering, and there's ways to ease the suffering by helping each other and giving back. So be grateful, man. Be grateful. Also, always count your blessings. Look, blessed. You got to count your blessings every day you wake up. Yeah, I'm on dialysis. You know what? Be grateful for that machine. You know what I mean? Look at that machine. Be like, thank you for the person that invented this, that I'm able to be alive. Thank you for the doctors that, you know, were able to help me with this. And just be grateful that you're breathing life every day. I mean, yeah, it's bad, but it could always be worse. It could always be worse. And you don't want to compare to a worse situation, but sometimes you got to think about what you can to get your mindset right. You got to get your mind right. You can't let it get too far deep in the deep end, because once it goes down, it's hard to come back up. You got to stay level. And to do that is definitely to give back to people and think about others. Sometimes it's like, man, we're dealing with this disease. It's so easy to be like in this comfort zone of like, oh, you want people to feel bad for you. And it's almost like a comfort. Like when you play the victim. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, you're so used to playing victim all the time, you get your way with it. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to play victim. You can show people you're strong. And it's so inspiring. You got to think about it. There's people that are healthy that are depressed, and they're complaining about, you know, freaking the guy at Starbucks spelled your name wrong on their coffee. You know what I mean? And it's like, how are you complaining about your name wrong on a coffee? Like, there's people walking around dying. Yeah. So definitely put things into perspective. Be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful for your family, your friends, anything that you could be grateful for. That's a start. And gratitude is the first step in healing. So
I love that.
Definitely, man. Take that in.
Everything you just said, I love that, man. That's a mic drop right there. I do want to say, man, whenever you do that sponsor, like, hit me up, dude, because I got some amazing things that I could give people. So let me know, man. Let me know.
We're gonna work these kidney groups. I'm looking forward to what we could build in the future, man. Like, you know, like I said, meeting you feels divine to me, and I don't feel like our journey ends here. I feel like we're gonna be going through this journey together. As long as I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm checking in with you, bro, and you're my bro in this thing, and we gonna figure this thing out together. We're gonna save people. We're gonna impact lives, bro, and that's what it's all about.
Bro, I appreciate that, man. With all my heart, you know I got you too, dude.
Yep. Got you too. All right, man. Definitely, for sure.
Much love, my brother, and
keep
collaborating, keep working, and man, keep spreading that love and that light, Alex.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for the opportunity, man. I'll check in with you later.
100. The connected people. That's the connected, man.